Okay, so what we're going to do now is mirror the bone shapes so they show up correctly on the right side of the leg. Now this is going to get a bit involved. So we've been storing our bone shapes on this layer. So go ahead and just click on this layer. Do the middle mouse button to rotate. And what you want to do is basically select all these objects that we used for the left leg. Here I'm just going to go ahead and just zoom in and just select all of them. Now, when we mirror these bone shapes, we have to handle them in a special way. This is because when we create the bone shapes, each of these individual bone shapes have origin points in a certain place, so they show up correctly on the bones. Okay, so go ahead and press the 1 key to go to the front view and just zoom out a bit. So first what we're going to do is do Shift D to duplicate this, and then go ahead and right click to cancel. Now what we're going to do is actually go ahead and switch this to individual origins and make sure that this is switched to local. Now here we're going to do Control M to go into mirror and press the X key 2 times. So when you press it 2 times, you're going to get these red lines and you're going to press enter. So what we've done right now is simply mirrored these shapes on their individual origins. Now we're going to put them on this side by mirroring them again. So now do Shift C to place the 3D cursor in the center. Go ahead and just zoom back in over here. And what we're going to do now is switch this to the 3D cursor, and here we're just going to keep this on local, but when we mirror this, we're only going to press the X key 1 time. So just do Control M and do X and enter. So now if you take a look, you'll see that the objects have been mirrored, but here the vertices are actually still pointing in the same direction, and this is what we want. So now we're going to fix this. Now this is where it gets a bit involved. You're going to make sure that this is on the 3D cursor. You have to click on this object, do Shift S, do cursor to select it, and make sure that this is on local. You're going to press the Tab key to go into edit mode, do Control M and press the X key 2 times and press the enter key. Okay, now go ahead and just press the Tab key to go into object mode. Let's do this one. Click on this, do Shift S, do cursor to select it. Now we're going to press the Tab key to go into edit mode, do Control M, do X 2 times and press enter. Press the Tab key to go into object mode. Now click on this, do Shift S, do cursor to select it. Press the Tab key to go into edit mode. Here we're going to do Control M, do X 2 times and enter. In order to mirror the vertices, they have to be selected, okay? Now go ahead and click on this, do Shift S, do cursor to select it, press the Tab key, do Control M and do X 2 times and enter. Press the Tab key. Now click on this one, do Shift S, do cursor to select it, press the Tab key, press the A key to select everything, do Control M, do X 2 times and enter. Press the Tab key. Now we're going to click on this line. Go ahead and do Shift S, do cursor to select it, press the Tab key, do Control M and do the X key 2 times and just enter. Now here we're going to skip the empty because you can't go into edit mode on the empty. So go ahead and switch this back to object mode. I'm going to click on this one, do Shift S, do cursor to select it, press the Tab key to go into edit mode. Here I'm just going to select everything, do Control M, do X 2 times and enter. Go ahead and press the Tab key to go into object mode. Now over here, I'm going to click on this, do Shift S, do cursor to select it, press the Tab key, do Control M, do the X key 2 times and enter. Okay, now press the 1 key and go ahead and switch back to object mode. Now over here, you might get this behavior because we were mirroring using Euler angles. So here, all you have to do is actually look at the gimbal. So you can switch to gimbal, click over here, and here we can actually switch this back to median point. So here, if you look, here we just simply have to look at the wiring. So here, if we want to put this back, if you look over here, you'll see that this is a negative on the Y, so we know we're going to be rotating on the Y. So here, in my case, I'm just going to take out this minus and enter. Now you can just manually rotate this, right? It's no big deal. Okay, so go ahead and switch this back over here. Here I'm just going to keep this on a local. Now we need to actually name these. So all we have to do really is first make sure that we click over here, and here we're just going to replace the L with R and enter. Do shift middle mouse button, click on this, go ahead and do .R and enter. Click on this one, .R and enter. Click on this one over here, that's .R. Click on this. This is going to be .R and enter. Now let's go ahead and zoom in over here. Let's click on this one. This will be .R and enter. Click on this one. This will be .R and enter. Click on this one. So it will be .R and enter. This one over here, .R and enter. And finally this one is going to be .R and enter. Okay, now what you want to do is press the shift key down and turn this layer on. Okay, so you can see these bone shapes. So this is fairly easy. Go ahead and click on the object, do Control-C. Now click on this bone, make sure you're on the bone tab. All you have to do is hover your mouse, do Control-V. Okay, so now go ahead and click on this object, do Control-C, click over here, do Control-V. So you'll see that the bone shapes will start to align themselves correctly. So let's go ahead and do Control-C, click on this, and do Control-V. I'm going to take a look at this one over here. Do Control-C, click over here, do Control-V. Okay, now here we're going to click this, do Control-C, click on this one, do Control-V. Okay, now on this one over here, we're going to do Control-C. Now here we actually don't have the empty, is because they're actually still sitting on the other IK layer. So go ahead and just select any bone, go to here, and let's actually click over here. And what we want to do is actually click on this bone, press the shift key down. Actually, what I'm going to do is actually make this a little more easier. We're going to turn this off because it's getting in our way. Go ahead and click these, press the M key, go ahead and throw them on this layer. Now we can press the shift key down, turn this on, and go ahead and go back to the touch layers. Okay, so now here I'm just going to click on this bone, go to the bone tab, and here I'm just going to do Control-V. Okay, now over here should have the object, do Control-C, click over here, do Control-V over here. Now go ahead and click this, do Control-C, click on this, do Control-V. Okay, and finally on this one, do Control-C, click over here, do Control and V, and go ahead and click over here. Okay, now we can simply go ahead and just enable the touch layer over here. So everything should be here. We can go ahead and turn this off so we only have this layer on. Start to see that everything's here. Now finally what we want to do is make sure that we don't let the user select these bones. So just hover your mouse, press the period key. Over here where you see this highlighted, we're going to click this to turn that off. Click over here, press the period key on your numpad. Look over here, it's highlighted, and we're going to turn this off. Okay, so we're not going to let them select these bounds. So everything over here has been aligned. So here I'm just going to go ahead and go under File, do Save As, and here we're just going to save this as Rigging Lesson 04 d.blend. Okay, so now to finish this off, what we're going to do is go ahead and select on this layer and press the A key to select all the bones, press the M key and just put them back on the non-deformed layer. Okay, so all we will have is the non-deformed bones on one layer. Now the last thing that we need to do is go ahead and look at this bone over here, go to the constraints, and you can see that if we scale the figure using the root bone, we don't have a way to scale this bone. So we're going to go ahead and click on this, press the shift key down, click on this one, do shift control C, and here copy scale, and just make sure that this goes up over here. Do the same thing on this bone, click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on this one, do shift control C and do copy scale, and go ahead and move this up. Okay, so now if you go to the data tab over here, press the shift key down and turn on the root bone, press the 3 key, just click on it, and now press the S key. Everything should scale normally. Okay, and that's it. So here, let's go ahead and just position this like this, press the shift key down and actually turn off this layer over here. Now here I'm just going to go under File, do Save As, and let's go ahead and save this as a Rigging Lesson 04 e.blend. Okay, so this officially completes the leg and foot rig. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.